Hello everyone! Today we're making a big ol' loaf of gyro meat. Okay, technically donor meat, but it's also technically American Greek-style gyro meat. Okay, I'm just confused now. Either way, it's a loaf of meat that when sliced thin and sizzled up really nails that fast foodish style of meat that you'd find wrapped in a flatbread from a takeaway restaurant. Which, I don't know about you, is my favorite kind of gyro, or donor, meat. Now, let's get into it. We'll be using the following ingredients. While you can use everyday mince or ground meat for this, it works just fine. I like grinding my own. If you have the option to have some meat ground freshly for you, either from your butcher or a meat department or a friend with a meat grinder, this is a recipe where the freshness and quality of the meat really does make a noticeable difference. Now to begin the meat, we're going to start by processing our onion and garlic until they're just about a paste. And then I'm taking half of the lamb and half of the beef and working them in as well. This will whip some air into the meat, making it sticky and tacky and giving it more uniform of a texture. It's going to bind the entire loaf together like a glue. If we skip this part, it would turn out more crumbly like a meatloaf or a meatball, and that's not what we're looking for. You want this mixture to blend for a couple of minutes. You'll notice it becoming lighter and lighter until it's turned into this airy meat, for lack of a better descriptor, frosting. But it's actually called a meat farce, or a force meat, in case you were wondering. Now we'll just add this force meat back to our minced meat. The thing I really like about this mixture of different meat grinds is that we end up with a great combination of different flavors and textures within the meat log itself. There's little chunks of this coarsely ground meat suspended in our finely ground force meat. This combination prevents us from ending up with a Greek-flavored meatloaf or a Greek-flavored Spam, neither of which sound very good to me, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. We'll then add marjoram, a close relative of oregano. It's slightly sweeter and more floral, but you can substitute oregano if that's all you got. We'll add in our garlic powder, which I think has a slightly different garlic flavor than fresh, so I like using both here. Some cumin powder for just a little hint of background complexity. Some olive oil for moisture and richness, some salt, black pepper, and one of the best things in the world, MSG. This is optional, but in the same way a parachute is optional when skydiving. Now we'll just get in there and mix this up thoroughly. This is going to bake into a pretty solid loaf of meat with everything suspended inside the way we left it. We really need to incorporate all the ingredients well here, or we'll end up with pockets of different seasonings. Now, if you're wondering why I have these bread pans out, I did say we were making a loaf, just one made of meat. These are going to work great for this, but any two oven-safe dishes that fit into one another will work just fine. We're going to be using the bottom pan as a mold to shape and form the meat, which we'll also line with paper just so it's a bit easier to remove afterwards. And the top pan will be our weight for compressing the meat, so it maintains that shape and form during cooking. Place the meat mixture into the bottom pan and make sure there's no air pockets. Really press it down and take special care of the edges. The more evenly it's compacted, the better the results will be. Alright, so this is looking just about perfect. So now I'm going to cover this meat with that top pan, and I'm going to add some water into that top pan. This is going to add as a little bit more weight, as well as help create a nice humid environment in the oven as it steams off, so our little meat boy here doesn't dry out. We'll now just set this into a preheated 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit oven for about 30 minutes. While that's going, we're going to need some toppings, and a sauce. I like doing this tomato and onion salad. This couldn't be easier. We'll just dice up some tomato, thinly slice some of this red onion, and add in a little chopped parsley, sumac, and salt. If you've never used sumac, it has this wonderful tangy and bittersweet citrus flavor that really uplifts these other simple ingredients. It's used in many Mediterranean and Middle Eastern dishes, so it's a great spice to add to your collection. This crisp and refreshing salad is going to be perfect as a topping on our salty and rich meat, especially when combined with everyone's favorite fresh, light, and creamy sauce, tzatziki. We'll start by grating a cucumber. You can peel this if you want, you can also seed it, but these little Persian cucumbers have a very thin skin and few seeds, so I'm fine with it. We'll also want to squeeze out some of the liquid out of our cucumber pulp here. Nobody likes a watery tzatziki. Then we'll add our Greek yogurt. We'll grate in a little garlic, add some fresh lemon juice, some fresh dill, and my special ingredient, a little bit of mint. Then just season it up with some salt and black pepper, give it a good mixing, and that's good to go. After 30 minutes in the oven, it's looking like this. And it really doesn't look very great at this point, does it? Well, he's not finished yet, so don't judge him. The first thing we want to do is drain off some of this excess liquid, and we'll save it for later. We need to allow it to cool completely, like this. We'll then slice it nice and thin. When it's sliced off the rotisserie at the takeaway shops, it's usually very, very thin, so if we're trying to get that same effect, we should slice it thin too. We'll then get our slices into a pan over medium heat with just a touch of oil. Don't worry about even cooking. It's actually better if some parts are nice and caramelized and others aren't. Think about how the meat would be cooking on one of those vertical rotisseries we don't have. The heat is only caramelizing the exposed parts of the meat on the outside. Keeping things a little less evenly cooked helps us mimic that effect. We want a nice balance of crispy and caramelized bits and soft and tender ones. Just keep moving them around a bit until they've picked up some color and texture. This is looking pretty close to what you'd get off the rotisserie if you ask me, but maybe it's a little dry. Well, that's no big deal because we reserved that liquid from before. It's packed with fat and flavorings from the meat itself, so adding it back in just bumps up the flavor and juiciness. This is looking great, so all that's left to do is assemble. This meat would go great with a ton of different starches, but I'm just going to load up one of these pita pockets. Add in some lettuce, our tzatziki, our tomato salad, and a little feta. I can't wait to eat this. I hope you enjoyed this video about gyros, or doner. If you're new here, welcome aboard. And for those who've been watching, well, I appreciate you and your continued support. If you enjoyed these videos, you can help me continue making them by liking and subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching.